Heckerty, meowed Zanzibar, my cat. Heckerty, I don't feel well. Zanz was scratching. I looked at him carefully and saw he wasn't his usual shiny black self. I thought I could even see coloured spots developing on his fur. Oh, how awful, I thought. My poor Zanzibar is ill. What shall I do? I wasn't sure if what he had was contagious, meaning catchy, so I decided Zanz had to go to bed immediately, somewhere safe where he couldn't give his spots to me or to anyone else. He needed a cat nap on a lovely soft caterpillow. It was a good thing the weather was warm, because outside we have a cat tree. You know, one of those tall things cats climb on, scratch against, and then curl up in a bed at the top. I told Zanzibar he'd be better off in bed, and wondered what to do next. Heckerty, came a sad little voice from the cat tree. Heckerty, I feel awful, and I'm bored. Many years ago, my mother told me that once upon a time she had been very ill, and she was very contagious. So her father climbed up a ladder to read stories to her through the window. He did that every day till she got better. What a great idea, I thought. I'll get a ladder. Then I can tell Zanzibar stories until he's well again. But I couldn't find a ladder anywhere in my cave. So I made one with a ladder-making spell I found in an old book. Little kitty up a tree, how on earth can I reach thee? Neck of giraffe, tongue of adder, mix them up to make a ladder. And a beautiful spotted ladder in giraffe colours appeared against the side of the cave. I marched outside with it and leaned it against the cat tree. Now, I thought, I can start telling Zanzibar stories. So I climbed up the ladder. I was horrified. Poor Zanzibar was covered in bright blue spots. He looked even more miserable than before. So I thought I'd better tell him a story right away. Once upon a time, I began, in a land far, far away, there was a king cat who lived in a castle with his queen, Queen Tabitha, but who everybody called Queen Tabby. They had always wanted to have kittens, but many years went by before beautiful tiny Princess Hello Kitty was born. The king and queen were so happy that they held a cat party to celebrate their perfect little kitten. And they invited everyone in all the land to join them at the palace to celebrate this wonderful event. Well, almost everybody. Somehow there was a terrible mistake, and Rocky Raccoon was left off the guest list. He was so upset and angry that he decided to take revenge on the king, queen, and Princess Hello Kitty. I know how to disguise myself, he said. I'll go as a zebra because they also have black and white stripes, just like me. So on the day of the party, Rocky dressed up as a very small zebra and came to the palace. In a saddlebag, he hid a big magical thorn. Rocky waited till all the guests were dancing and having fun. Then he slowly crept up close to Princess Hello Kitty. Then, when he was near her, he suddenly jumped up and jabbed her with the thorn. Poor Princess Hello Kitty yelled, "Ouch!" Everybody was shocked and stopped where they were. Nobody knew what to do. Then they noticed that Princess Hello Kitty's beautiful white fur was slowly changing. And soon she was covered in big blue splotches. The guests were terrified, and they all ran away, thinking the princess might have some contagious sickness they might catch. But Princess Hello Kitty just yawned and stretched. Then she slowly curled up and fell fast asleep. And very soon everyone around her was asleep too. And then slowly but surely, big thorn bushes began to grow up around the palace. In the meantime, in another land, also far away, young Prince Zanzibar was out hunting with his friends when he found himself alone and lost in the forest. Suddenly he saw a vision of a beautiful white cat with big blue splotches on her fur, and a voice in his head said, "If you can find Princess Hello Kitty and wake her with a kiss, her blue splotches will disappear and you will marry her and live happily ever after." Prince Zanzibar had always wanted to be a hero. This was his chance, and he couldn't wait. So he continued deeper and deeper into the forest until he found a huge thorn bush. This must be the right place, Prince Zanzibar thought to himself. So he slowly pulled away the thorns, one by one, until he found himself at the door of a tall castle. Of course, the door was closed and locked. "No problem," thought Prince Zanzibar, "because I'm a cat." He jumped up onto a window ledge and let himself into the castle through an open window. And there, on a beautiful cushion, was a lovely white cat with big blue splotches on her fur. "Oh, Princess Hello Kitty," cried Prince Zanzibar, "I will make you well again." Then he walked over to her and gently gave her a kiss on the end of her small pink nose. Immediately, the blue splotches began to fade, and very soon Princess Hello Kitty was fine again. King Cat and Queen Tabby all woke up, and everyone was very happy. Prince Zanzibar married Princess Hello Kitty, and they lived happily ever after. "So what did you think of that story, Zanz?" I asked him. "It's silly," he said. "Really, Heckerty, you can do better than that." And then he paused with an amazed look on his face. "Heckerty," he said, "my blue spots have gone." "Oh, good," I said. "It must have been when you kissed Princess Hello Kitty and her blue splotches disappeared. Your spots joined them and they all went away together." "Yes," said Zanzibar dully. "But the problem now is that they're bright pink." He sighed sadly and turned his back on me, then curled up on his bed and went to sleep. That night I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned and worried about Zanzibar's bright pink spots. Maybe when Prince Zanzibar kissed Princess Hello Kitty on her little pink nose, he caught something from her, I thought. But then I remembered it was just a story that I'd made up from bits of old stories in my head. So why did Zanzibar now have bright pink spots? And what could I do to get rid of them? The only thing that came into my head was another story. So I climbed back up the ladder to where Zanzibar was looking sadly at his bright pink patches. "Are you sitting comfortably, Zanz?" I asked. "Good. Then I'll begin." This story is about a little girl who always wore a pink hoodie whenever she went to visit her grandmother. One day, the little girl's mother asked her to take a basket of sandwiches to her sick grandma who was lying in bed. Little Pink Riding Hood said she'd be happy to do that, and so off she went to see Grandma. But on the way, she was stopped by a little pig who wanted help building a straw house. "That's not very clever," said Little Pink Riding Hood. "The big bad wolf will come, and he'll huff, and he'll puff, and he'll blow your house down." And, as you know, that's exactly what happened. Little Pink Riding Hood carried on, walking and singing. Soon she met a second little pig who wanted help building a house of sticks. "That's not very clever," said Little Pink Riding Hood. "The big bad wolf will come, and he'll huff, and he'll puff, and he'll blow your house down." And as you know, that's exactly what happened. She walked on, swinging her basket. Soon she met a third little pig. This one was a girl pig, and she looked just like that pig on the TV. Salty Pig, Garlic Pig, something like that. "Peppa Pig," said Zanzibar. "Yes, that's the one," I said, carrying on with my story. "Can I move in with your grandmother?" Peppa Pig asked. "She has a nice brick house, and I would be safe from the wolf there." "Come with me," said Little Pink Riding Hood, and they walked on together. When they got to her grandmother's house, Little Pink Riding Hood found her grandmother feeling much better. They talked about the big bad wolf and came up with a plan. They pulled a big cauldron out and put it under the chimney. Then they filled it with water and they waited for the wolf. When the wolf came and tried to blow the brick house down, he couldn't. So he carefully climbed up to the roof to get in by going down the chimney. But when he got to the bottom, he was very surprised to find he'd fallen into Grandma's magic cauldron and was instantly turned into a frog. Grandma, Little Pink Riding Hood, and Peppa Pig were very happy the mean old wolf was gone. So they celebrated with a wonderful lunch of salad sandwiches with lots of lettuce, cucumbers, and tomatoes. "I love lettuce," said Little Pink Riding Hood, and she ate all her lunch, every bit. "Are you hungry, Zanz?" I asked. "Would you like a sardine?" "Not really," he said to my surprise, "but I wouldn't say no to a bowl of broccoli." "Broccoli!" I yelled and nearly fell off the ladder. "Cats don't eat broccoli. They drink milk and eat sardines. But broccoli?" "It might be something to do with this," said Zanzibar, showing me his big pink spots. Only now the spots were bright green. Zanzibar was getting worse, not better. I made Zanzibar a bowl of broccoli, adding a get well spell to make him feel better and stronger. Then I climbed back up the ladder. By now the green spots on his fur had started to glow. Zanzibar looked at the broccoli I don't want it, he said sulkily. You didn't cook it, Heckerty. It's raw. And he threw the broccoli out of the cat tree and onto the ground. As soon as it landed, my get well spell started working, and the broccoli began to grow big and strong and very fast. Soon the broccoli was as big as the cat tree, and it kept growing. We watched in amazement as it grew and grew until it was so tall we couldn't see the top of it anymore. I couldn't remember the last time one of my spells had worked this well. How interesting, said Zanz, standing up and stretching. I think I'll go and investigate. Are you feeling better? I asked him. Oh, yes, and this mystery is much better than feeling better, he said, as he started climbing up the broccoli. Cats are very good at climbing things, and Zanzibar very quickly disappeared into the clouds above. I waited on the ladder for a while, but when he didn't come back, I went down to the cave for some beetle tea. Night came, and the moon appeared above the cave, and then was hidden behind the huge broccoli tree. No Zanzibar. I went to bed, but I couldn't sleep. Without my Zanzibar, I felt lonely and alone. They are two different feelings, you know, and I was feeling them both at the same time. Suddenly, there was a huge noise, and I could see Zanzibar quickly climbing down the broccoli. He had a large goose under his arm. High up above, a man was yelling. But as soon as Zanzibar reached the ground, he mewed out a shrink spell. The broccoli tree instantly zoomed back down to its original size. Wow, said Zanzibar, safe at last. And then he started telling me about his adventure. It was an amazing story. Zanz explained that at the top he discovered a giant who lived with a goose that laid golden eggs. I think Heckerty would like that, Zanz thought. He grabbed the goose and ran down the broccoli tree with it. The giant tried to chase after him, but when he shrank the broccoli back to its original size, the giant was left behind. And then the goose ate the broccoli. Geese love greens like cabbage, cauliflower leaves, and lettuce, and it seems broccoli. Golden eggs, I asked. Really? Well, she did lay golden eggs up there, said Zanz, waving his paw at the sky. We'll see, I said, as the goose went off to find more leaves and grasses and things to eat. Zanzibar looked down at his fur. The green's going, he said, but it's changing colour. I think it's getting better, he added hopefully. It's sort of yellow now. And it was. Zanzibar was very tired. He climbed back up his cat tree and went to bed. I was worried. This illness had now been going on for 3 days. Much too long. When I woke up the next morning, I was surprised to see Zanz curled up in his usual place at the foot of my bed. I feel much better, Heckerty, he said, stretching his toes in that funny way cats do. Just a bit off colour, that's all. What colour is that? I asked him, as he'd already been blue, pink, and green. Sort of yellow, he said, like my eyes. Are you hungry, Zanz? I asked him. He said. Maybe some porridge. Porridge? I squealed. What's that? It's like thick oatmeal, said Zanz, and if I don't eat it all, I can put it on my fur to make it silky and smooth. I went to my cauldron to make porridge, but I had no idea how to do it. Maybe a porridge spell, I thought. But what rhymes with porridge? Then it came to me. Instead of a spell, I'd asked the cauldron to make it for me. As I didn't go to college, I don't have the sort of knowledge to make Zanzibar his porridge. Horses love oats, so do sheep. Now that Zanz is not asleep, can you magic something that will make the porridge for my cat? The cauldron boiled and bubbled, and 3 bowls appeared. A large one, a medium-sized one, and a small one. Zanzibar tasted the porridge from the first bowl. "Yow! Too hot," he said. Then he tasted the porridge from the medium-sized bowl. "Yuck! Too cold," he said. Then he tried the porridge from the smallest bowl. "Delicious," he said, and he ate it all up. Zanzibar was clearly feeling better. The yellow spots were fading fast. The oats from the porridge were really good for him, and healthy too. I was confused, but Zanzibar was now so much better that I soon forgot about Peppa Pig, Princess Hello Kitty, and all the others that had lived in my stories for the past few days. "Don't worry, Heckerty," said Zanzibar. "If you get sick, I'll tell you all about Cinderella, and the princesses from Frozen, and Puss in Boots, and it'll be my turn to look after you." I was so happy he was better. But I'll tell you a secret, shall I? I loved telling him those stories. Maybe I should write some more, just in case I ever need them. What do you think? Want more? Click here. Every week. Love from Heckerty. Click to subscribe. For more adventures of Heckerty and Zanzibar, click here. Like us and share with your friends. Say goodbye, Zanzibar.